Welcome back. I'm Bill McDale, the dumbest guy in the room, and today's episode, I just want to take a step back. Last time I kind of just got right into a topic to put out some content because I've been recording these things forever, and it was never perfect, and it'll never be perfect, so I just wanted to get something out there to get myself started. So with that being said, again, my name is Bill McDale, for anybody that does not know me. For the longest time, I shouldn't say throughout childhood, but I guess starting in about high school, I've been known as Dirt. My friends still call me Dirt. And for the longest time, I've been referred to as Dirt. And, I used to have to live up to that, I feel like. So throughout my life, I just kind of always tried to live up to that name. I always wanted to be the class clown. I think the worst part about being Dirt was that Dirt knew everything about everything. There wasn't anybody or anyone that could tell me what the next move would be to get to where I wanted to be. So what that led to was a bunch of choices and decisions that I would make, and I would never really move forward. I was always kind of stuck being where I was at, and since I knew everything and didn't take advice from anybody or look at anybody else's experience to learn from it, I just wasn't able to grow, and it had to be everybody else's fault because I knew everything. I knew how to become successful. I knew what life was about. I knew that no matter what, something good would happen. I just knew that I was making the right choices, and since those choices weren't putting me where I needed to be, it must have been everybody else's fault. And that's literally the life that I lived for the longest time, and I'd say it wasn't even that long ago since I've kind of had a new view on life. Within the last couple of years is when I've really started to dig deeper into myself, who I was, and the part that I played in all of these failures. I'd always praise myself and give myself credit for anything good that was happening in my life, any promotion, any recognition, or anything like that. I'd always take credit easily, but when something bad would happen and I'd have a bad consequence to something I was doing, it couldn't have been my fault. And really looking into all of that is really what made me want to start a podcast. Now, at first, what I was really going to do is kind of recap my life. But as time went on and I started to do this, that's not what I really want to do. The reason I thought I wanted to do that was because my biggest fear is judgment. And I thought that if I put myself just out there like that and just all my regrets, all my past history, everything that I've kind of held in, if I just put it all out there like that would kind of overcome that fear. But it's not going to help me learn anything. It's not going to help me rethink about different perspectives and things like that, because I only know what I know, and at this point in time, I know nothing. So I think the biggest part about really growing up was when I realized that with age, what I first assumed you would gain knowledge. With age, I've found that I've realized that I know nothing. So the older I get, the more I learn, the more I realize that I just know absolutely nothing. And with that being said, now on social media and everything going on with the current events, I started to see that everybody knew everything and everything was a fact, and this belief in it has to be this belief. If you believe that, you're wrong. And I just started questioning it. I'm definitely guilty of it, and I still am guilty of it. I have to catch myself sometimes, but for the most part, I do have an open mind. I don't assume negative intent. I do assume that most people, whether I believe in what they have to say or not, that they do have good intentions behind it. And I think that's one of the faults in today's world, is we kind of assume that because somebody doesn't believe in what we believe in, that they have negative intentions. And I like to think that the world is made up of mostly good people with good intentions, just we're all different. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we're seeing is, we're not allowed to have different beliefs anymore. It's either this belief or no belief. And that's a scary place, and not somewhere that I think that we should be headed. So my question that I started asking myself is, we live in America. America is really built off of, having freedom. That's what we're supposed to be, the land of the free. And it just made me question what freedom actually is. And the way that freedom is defined is that you have the ability to act, say, or think any way that you would like. That's freedom. So you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and think any way you want to think. And I think we take that for granted. I think we look at it as, well, since I can act, say, or think any way that I want, that must mean everybody else should act, think, and say the things that I want to be done, said, or thought. And that's not the case. You see, everything has a price, and freedom definitely has one of the biggest prices. And that price is sacrifice. So with freedom, we have to make sure that we're taking into account that there's billions of other people that have billions of other different experiences, which come with different actions, thoughts, and beliefs that are going to be, set across now the internet, or just anywhere in general. And I don't think that most people are willing to pay that price. Most people want to be able to say what they want, do what they want, think how they want, but they don't want to sacrifice somebody else to do the same when they have opposite, beliefs. And I personally think that's what's happening right now, and that's what got me to want to do this podcast, because there's really no belief of mine that I'm willing to fight or die for, besides one. And that belief is to be able to have my beliefs, to be able to live the life that I want according to my values, my morals, and then be able to listen to other people's beliefs and based off their values and morals, so that I can grow as a person. Because, like I said, the only thing that we do know is that we know nothing, and without other people's experiences, we're not going to be able to grow whatsoever. Because these different beliefs, these different thought processes, these different experiences that we all have, that's what brings innovation, and that's what really brings not just an individual growth, but it brings community growth, and then it brings collective growth, and that's how we kind of got to where we are today. So I just want to touch on some things, because I have had some people reach out. They wanted to come on the show, and they were asking me about topics like what would I like to talk about. And I want to talk about anything. I want to talk about anything and everything, whether it's something that you are extremely passionate about. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong by any means. I'm here to question and have a productive conversation to find out why it is that you believe in what you believe. And to do that, you have to have a productive conversation. We have to be able to talk about issues that may seem sensitive to some people, and I think that's important, because without talking about these sensitive topics, or we're not going to be able to ever get through it, because we're all looking for these solutions. And sometimes I feel like we're just, instead of trying to answer the same question with different solutions, because it doesn't seem to work, we have to find the right question. So if we can ask different questions, we can come up with new solutions that we haven't got to yet. And then besides any sensitive topics, like I'll talk about life. I'll talk about where you think that Earth came from, what humans are, what we are, philosophical views, which is where I really like to go down the rabbit holes with philosophical views. We could talk about sports. We could talk politics, business, history, science, facts, feelings, whatever is on your mind, whatever you are passionate about. I just want to talk to you. I just want to have a productive conversation, and I want to learn, because remember, I am the dumbest guy in the room. I'm not going to act like I'm the smartest guy in the room. When I do these solo videos, it's really just me expressing something that I believe in, but that doesn't mean that I'm not wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to think I'm wrong later. I do that literally all the time. I come up with some belief, and I have a conversation, I do some research, and I change my belief around whatever that may be. So just to kind of get a little specific on some topics that are kind of going on right now. Going back to, before I get there, I want to go back to dirt, right? I used to think being in that position, being that person, that active alcoholic, that person that was always actively seeking that instant gratification with everything that I did. If I didn't get instant gratification, I didn't want to do it. And to learn how to delay gratification. But I've also realized through, like I said, I really enjoy philosophical views, and Carl Jung was somebody that I really read a lot into. And Carl Jung has a quote that I really like, and it kind of made me rethink. And again, this is kind of another reason why I came up with this podcast, but it kind of made me rethink about my past. And the quote's, "No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." Okay, no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. And I thought about that a lot, right? So what does that mean? And if you look at it from a standpoint of nature, a tree is only as strong to the conditions that it has no control over as its roots are, right? So it's only as strong as those roots, and the longer those roots get down get into the ground, the closer it gets to hell. The more stable that tree can be, knowing that it does have the capability to reach hell, but it also has the capability to reach heaven. And it's like to me, it's like a chain. You don't have one without the other, and that's all we are. Right, so the further we can get, the further that our personal experience gets, or the closer our personal experience gets to hell, the more that we recognize how easily any of us could be that evil of a person, the closer that we can realize how good of a person that we also have the potential to be. We all have the potential to be the ultimate evil and the ultimate good, but for some reason, we all believe, again, this is just from personal experience, like I didn't believe I had that type of evil in me until I looked at the consequences of the things that I actually did and looked deeper into those consequences. So for me, dirt was a good fit. Dirt's that balance between the tree. That's where that seed's planted, and I was in that dirt for a long time. And you'll hear about it on some episodes, but I've done some things that I thought, right, were regrets. But thinking about it, the most regrets that I have today are about things I never said, things I never did, things I never thought to even bring up to people, things that I just held in and never said. Not the things I actually did, because the things I actually did, I learned something from it. And I didn't learn who I was, but I learned what I'm not. So all I know today is what I'm not. I learned everything about what I'm not in order to find out possibly what I am whenever I get there. But as of today, I don't know who I am. I'm still searching for who I am. I'm pursuing my meaning every day. I'm focused on my values. And I think it's important that we all do that, and that we all have the ability to talk about what we believe in. Because if we don't, and we are silenced and just told that we're wrong with no conversation, well, we're going to be stuck there. And that, to me, is not a good place to be is stuck. I was there for a long time, and it's no fun. It's just a lot better when you can come face to face with that I guess you can call it that evil person that you can be. And when you come face to face with it, you realize, and you look at your shadow, and you say, and you can see it, everything becomes more clear if you can just accept the fact that we are all imperfect humans that make mistakes, that can make mistakes and have the possibility to do things that we never thought we could do until it happens. So, I like to talk about moral issues, some things that people, like I said, the sensitive topics. Like, am I wrong for believing that every one of us is privileged and oppressed, but it has nothing to do with your skin color, it has nothing to do with your sexual proclivity, it has nothing to do with your gender identity? Am I wrong for believing that those things are not what keeps us privileged or oppressed? I don't know. I could be. Am I wrong for believing that people who are telling you that you're oppressed because of your skin color, sexual proclivity, or gender identity are the ones that are actually oppressing you? Am I wrong? I don't know. I could be. Because I just think that there's a lot of people that, especially the leaders of these social justice movements, they don't want the problem to be fixed. If they wanted the problem to be fixed, they'd be asking themselves different questions. We've been repeating history over and over and over again, and we haven't really found any type of solution. Nothing that we're doing has any solution behind it except silence everybody. If we silence everybody, we won't have to hear anything. That's not the right. That can't be the right solution, is to silence people. I could be wrong. I guess maybe if everyone was silent, somebody, that's a solution for somebody, but it's not a solution that I see as productive. You see, because these leaders as well, if they do start to see change and things do start to change, and they're not the leaders of this oppressed group, well, they lose all sense of control. So if they do fix the problems that they're trying to solve, they lose control. And I personally don't believe that those people want to lose control. But hey, I think they went in with good intentions. They get control. It's an instant gratification. They have that control. They have that power. There's meaning to the words coming out of their mouth, and I do think the intentions are there. I just don't think I don't think a lot of them dug deep enough into themselves to realize what it is that they're actually doing to the people that they're so-called leading. I can get into a lot more detail about those issues. We could talk about politics and the things that now are considered political. Am I wrong for believing that the government should not be getting involved in the majority of the things that they get involved in? I mean, they're part of now our everyday life. You can't turn on sports. You can't turn on TV. You can't turn on Nickelodeon. You can't turn on anything without this stuff being thrown in your face, and then the politics getting involved and regulating things. And it's, am I wrong for believing that we need a smaller government? During election time, I was told I was wrong a lot because my vote wouldn't count. You see, I have more of a libertarian point of view, where I think that we should all have a choice, we should all have a say, and that's how, free market, and that's kind of how things innovate. A lot of people tell me I'm wrong, and I don't claim to be right. I just claim to know what I know, and that's all I know. We can just talk about sports. We can talk about specific sports teams. You could talk about UFC. I could talk about religions. I could talk about what you're passionate about when it comes to your occupation. What it is that you do for a living, and how you got into it, and what you could teach people about that profession, so maybe they're a little bit more educated. For instance, I have been in banking since I was 18. Over 10 years I've been in banking. When I first got into banking, I knew nothing about it. And I learned a lot about money during that time. I kind of got lucky, fell into that, fell in love with it, fell in love with the banking industry until recently. And I'll get into that in another episode. But, I broke up with the bank. I don't want to work for a bank anymore. And again, it's because of my values. I finally feel like I stood up for myself, my values, and was not being manipulated to believe that the values of the bank were my values, because that's kind of what happened. I've been told these are our values, this is what we're actually pushing to our customer base. I believed it wholeheartedly because, again, I think most people have good intentions. And then I started to I thought they aligned until I got into management, and they didn't align. So instead of just kind of putting one foot in front of the other and doing things that were outside of who I was, I didn't. I stood up for what I believed in. I took what I valued first over work, and now I'm gonna start my own business, doing financial coaching and kind of focusing on really helping people financially instead of this financial illness that these banks have kind of created across America. Not just the banks; it's way bigger than that, and I don't want to come down on banks like that, but they preach financial wellness, and they're not delivering wellness. They're just giving illnesses and then giving them Band-Aids to fix it, kind of. I just thought of that. But so like that, let's talk about your profession, what it is, why you love it, and why you got into it. And again, anything. So whether you agree with anything I said, whether you disagree, whether you have any topic in the world that you want to talk about, you want to discuss, let's talk about it. This is all about open communication, free of judgment, and a learning experience for everybody involved, for the listeners, for us when we're having the conversation, and anybody else. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all your support. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully I can post these videos a lot more often. And have a great day.